I'm just going to quick run through the first fight. What I saw, how I scored it, very, very quickly, just so you can kind of get an outline of what I saw from the first fight going into the second one, and you know what shifted, and well, certainly what shifted in Moreno's favor. So the difference between the first two fights, in the first fight, first round, Figueiredo comes out really hard. He comes out ready to bully Moreno. He's pushing him back against the fence. He's landing power shots. He doesn't fight like he's reserving any energy for the championship rounds. He's putting it on Moreno like he's going to be able to get him out of there within, 5 or 8 minutes. That was the intensity that he brought, and that put Moreno under pressure a little early. I do think he started to establish his jab quite well in the first round, but it wasn't until the second that Moreno really started to, put his hands together, find his range, find the gaps in Figueiredo's guard when he overcommits to stuff, because he does like to wing his shots. One of the reasons why he's so fun to watch is because he's very aggressive. Moreno, I would say, is the sharper boxer. Maybe not the most impactful of the two with his boxing, but I do think his hands are sharp, and he finds those safe pockets where he puts himself, to land that lovely double left hook that he's got. He's a very slick boxer, but with the force and the power that Figueiredo puts into his punches and throws, even when they land on the guard, they look impactful. They get bigger reactions from the commentators. So I think that's one thing that always swings it in Figueiredo's favor in some people's eyes, is the volume and the power that you can feel in his punches. Figueiredo is a different version in the second fight. He was far less warlike. And what I mean by that is, some guys get into the octagon because they want to compete, they want to be athletes and sports people, and they want to be great martial artists, and they're quite happy to compete within the rules. It's a friendly competition. For other people, it's war. It is life and death. They are fighting for everything that they have, and they don't comprehend it the same way as their opponents sometimes. I think with Moreno and Figueiredo, it's a great example, and especially because Figueiredo's nickname is, God of War. There's something very warlike about Figueiredo, and it does mean that he kind of skirts the edges of the rules a little bit. He finds ways to damage, injure, hurt his opponents, and you see this with a lot of the great fighters. John Jones does it. I would say Daniel Cormier does it, even though he might deny it. There are certain things that these high-level warlike competitors put into their game that gives them the slight edge. Sometimes it's more difficult to get them to control themselves in those environments because they are so invested in that warlike mentality. I don't think we saw that in the second fight, and I think a part of that reason may have been because he had a really hard weight cut, but it may have also been because he really started to like Brandon Moreno, and that's an odd thing to say. But if you look at the end of the second fight, Figueiredo goes over to Moreno and he embraces him. He was happy for him to be the champion. It was like there was no... of course there was disappointment on Figueiredo's part, but he felt very much dominated. And he was really happy to see Moreno have such a successful night, even though he was on the receiving end of it. I think that was a shift in mentality from Figueiredo.